Hello guys, just a quick video, a quick review of the Carbusonic Tank Sealing Kit. This is what the epoxy looks like when it's all mixed up. It came with its own hardener and its own thinner. Did everything by the book, mixed everything correctly. They advised that they came with portions already made of hardener and thinner, so you cannot get it wrong. Prepare the fuel tank, mixed it as they advised me in two separate containers in here, and then it was meant to be poured in the tank, sloshed about for 15-20 minutes, and then drained for 4 or 5 hours. However, just as I started putting it into the tank, it started hardening and smoking. It raised its own temperature and the temperature of the fuel tank. At some point I thought it was gonna get on fire, and this is the result inside. It hardened as I was putting it in the tank. So what can we say about this? It's bad. It's like horrendous. I don't know what and why, how, whatever happened, but I know that I followed everything by the book, everything to the dot, and still it went south, so south. So not happy, Carbusonic. Absolutely not happy with your shite. Whatever happened, this was not supposed to go down like that. Yeah. So guys, I don't know. My experience with sealing fuel tanks so far. And this, by the way, just to mention, this tank was prepped like too well. I've been prepping it all day. I used their own cleaner solution that came with the kit, and I used their own rust removing solution that came with the kit. I even contacted them after I purchased the kit to clarify a few details to make sure I got everything right, and still, I don't know, it's depressing me just to look at it. Never again. So I don't know, my advice is instead of wasting money and time and effort on this shit, just keep your tank full of fuel all the time and you're gonna be alright. Okay, that's it for now. Quick follow-up. After the Carbusonic Tank Sealer disaster, I managed to get out a piece of the sludge that the epoxy resin became, and this is what it looks like. And it's hard, it's quite hard, but also it's like spongy. It's got, let me see if I can, it's got holes in it. I was expecting it to be quite dense and to be rubbery like silicone. I was definitely not expecting it to become so spongy. I don't like it one bit. It's horrendous. And this happened only during the putting into the tank. I was meant to pour it, to slosh it for 25 minutes, and then to drain it for 4 hours. This thing hardened just as I was pouring it, creating a whole swath of new problems now on a tank that I've been restoring for weeks. Bad. Really, 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 really horrendous. Okay, cheers. So if we step back and leave the whole sewer disaster for a moment. I just wanted to tell you something else about another product that was in their kit, and that was their Tankroxx Extreme Duty 1 liter tank dry fuel flush solvent. It's a mouthful. So that solvent is meant to clean the tank of any remnants of fuel inside it. I had cleaned my tank very well, extremely well, many times with other solvents, with hot water and soap, with whatnot. But just to be pedantic and to follow the instructions to the letter, I decided to use their flush solvent as well. And I started putting it into the tank, which I want to say again was pretty clean at that point, maybe perfectly clean. I started putting it into the tank, and as almost all of it was in the tank, I started hearing these like tinkling noises. Then I stopped and took a look and realized that there were some sort of debris coming from the bottom of the container with the solvent, and many of them had gone into the tank, which had caused tinkling noises. Now, these debris were not visible before you pour the liquid into the tank, because they are like pale white, the same color as the liquid, and because um, the walls of the container are not perfectly transparent. So before you pour the flush into the tank, you don't know that they're there. But once I realized they were there, I had to spend another couple of hours to keep cleaning and flushing the tank to try to get them out. Because you can imagine how nasty it would be to have some debris floating in your tank just before you're trying to seal it with the sealer. But in any case, I got back to Carbusonic through the eBay messaging service. This is where I bought the whole kit on eBay, and I sent them a message explaining the problem and telling them about the issue with the debris that went into the tank when I tried to use their flush solvent. And you can pause and read the message that I sent to him if you like. And their reply was sort of hilarious. What they said verbatim was the debris in the solvent are limonene crystals. They are not a problem. That's it. That is it. Yeah, these crystals are such crystals. They're not a problem. Having some crystal debris sloshing your tank before you try to seal it. Nah, that's okay. That's not a problem. Why would it be? That was their attitude. Yeah, the crystals are there. They're fine. They're limonene crystals. They're not a problem. And I had to spend another 2 hours and spend my own solvents and try to get these crystals out of the tank. Um, I'll leave the conclusions up to you guys regarding this product and this company and their attitude. Now, regarding the main issue, I sent them a few pictures of the problem and explained the situation on eBay. And when they got back to me, they basically told me that judging by the photograph that I had sent them, I had mixed their product improperly, which had caused thermal runways where blah 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 leading to chain reaction, blah 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 blah. Basically telling me it was my own fault. Now, just to explain to you guys, it is basically impossible to mix their product improperly because their product comes in containers. that are pre-filled and pre-measured. So I specifically got in touch with them before I start mixing the sealer, and they confirmed that all of the all of the epoxy from one tin should be mixed with all of the thinner and all of the activator. So basically the epoxy kit came with 6 containers, 2 1-liter containers of epoxy, 2 smaller containers with the thinner, and 2 other even smaller containers with the activator. And basically you were supposed to mix 1 container of the epoxy with 1 container of the thinner with 1 container of the activator, and you're supposed to do it in a specific sequence and to use all of it. So full container of activator, full container of thinner, full container of epoxy. So basically it's impossible to get the mixing ratios wrong. So what they what they replied to me is basically rubbish. Uh, there's absolutely no ground to accuse me of any improper mixing, providing their mixing ratios are pre-made. And that was another disappointing message I got from them. However, I did tell them that if they didn't issue me with a full refund on eBay and uh, didn't send me a container of paint stripper to try and clean the mess in my tank that their hellish product created, I was gonna I was gonna make a review of their product and I was gonna post it on YouTube. And they sent me the full refund, and even but however they never sent me the paint stripper, even though they promised to send it. And I got in touch with them a few times asking them about the paint stripper, and eventually they just stopped replying to me. Which is something I'm actually glad about, because that gave me a good reason to post this review for you guys, so you know and stay away from this horrible product. Because I wouldn't like anyone else to go through the trouble I went through and I'm still going through, trying to clean the mess after this tank sealing disaster, basically. Well, that's for me. You take care and be careful with improper products.